Am I in the wrong for letting my gold digger spouse divorce me without knowing about my secret lottery win? Before we got to the story, I plan to give away 100 USD to whoever has the best opinion regarding this matter. So stay tuned, and I'll announce the winner in the few next videos. You only have to post your opinion on the comment below and consider to like and subscribe so that you'll not miss the announcement and many other future giveaway. Thanks, and back to the story. I'm 35 years old male, have been married to my wife Sarah for 7 years. Our relationship has been rocky for the past few years, mainly due to financial stress, and what I've come to realize is her materialistic nature. I come from a working class background and have always been frugal, while Sarah grew up in a more affluent family and has expensive tastes. About 6 months ago, I hit the jackpot. Literally, I won $135 million in the state lottery. It was a surreal moment, standing there in the convenience store, realizing my life was about to change forever. But as the initial shock wore off, a sinking feeling set in. My first thought wasn't joy or excitement, but dread at how Sarah would react. You see, over the years, Sarah has made it clear that she married me expecting a certain lifestyle. She's constantly comparing our life to her friends, complaining about our tiny house, and making snide comments about my career choices. She's pushed me to take jobs I hated just because they paid more, and has always prioritized material possessions over experiences or saving for the future. So when I won, I made a decision that I'm still not sure was the right one. I kept it a secret. I told no one, not even my closest friends or family. I worked with a lawyer to claim the prize anonymously, thank God for states that allow that, and set up a trust to manage the funds. As far as the world knew, nothing had changed. I know what you're thinking. Why not just divorce her immediately? Well, it's complicated. Despite everything, I did love Sarah once. And part of me hoped that maybe, if our financial stress was eliminated, we could reconnect and she'd remember the person she fell in love with. So I decided to wait and see if things improved naturally before making any drastic decisions. I started subtly upgrading our lifestyle. I'd bring home nicer groceries, suggest weekend getaways, always with the excuse of finding deals or using points, and even bought a new car. Nothing flashy, just newer and more reliable than our old one. I hoped Sarah would appreciate these changes, and maybe soften a bit. But if anything, it only made things worse. Instead of being grateful, Sarah saw these small improvements as a taste of what she deserved and pushed for more. She started talking about moving to a bigger house, buying designer clothes, and even quitting her job to become a full-time influencer. Her words, not mine. The final straw came last month. I had planned a surprise vacation for us, a week at a nice, but not extravagant, beach resort. When I revealed the trip to Sarah, instead of being excited, she actually got angry. She ranted about how her friend Jessica's husband had taken her to Europe for a month, and how if I really loved her, I'd find a way to give her those kinds of experiences. That night, as I lay awake listening to Sarah's gentle snores, I realized two things. One, I didn't love this woman anymore. And two, if she knew about the lottery money, she'd bleed me dry without a second thought. The next day, Sarah dropped a bomb of her own. She wanted a divorce. She went on a long tirade about how she was tired of living like paupers and how she deserved better. She said she'd fallen out of love with me years ago and had only stayed because she thought I had potential to be successful. Now that it was clear I'd never give her the life she wanted, she was done. I was hurt, but not surprised. And if I'm being honest, a little relieved. This was my chance to make a clean break without ever having to reveal my secret. So I agreed to the divorce, calmly and without argument. Sarah was suspicious of my easy acquiescence at first, but I think she interpreted it as defeat rather than relief. She's been working with a cutthroat divorce attorney, convinced she's going to take me for everything I'm worth. Little does she know. Here's where I might be the asshole. I've agreed to split our assets 50-50, which on paper looks like Sarah's getting about $125,000. This includes our modest savings, the equity in our home, and my 401k. To Sarah, this probably seems like a sizable amount. To me, knowing there's $135 million sitting in a trust, pocket change, part of me feels guilty. Not for Sarah's sake, but for her family. Her parents are getting older and have some health issues. Her sister is a single mom, struggling to make ends meet. I know that if Sarah knew about the money, she'd help them. After buying herself a mansion and a closet full of designer clothes, of course. By keeping this secret, I'm arguably depriving them of a better life, too. But then I think about how Sarah has treated me over the years. Constant belittling, the emotional manipulation, the way she's tried to change fundamental parts of who I am just to fit her idea of a successful husband. I think about how quickly she was ready to throw away our marriage when she thought the gravy train was never going to come. I've consulted with my lawyers, and they assure me that as long as I don't touch the lottery money until after the divorce is finalized, I'm in the clear legally. Sarah has no claim to money she doesn't know exists. But morally, I'm not so sure. My plan, once the divorce is final, is to quit my job and start using the money to do some real good in the world. I want to set up scholarships for underprivileged kids, fund research into diseases that don't get enough attention, maybe even start a foundation. I've lived frugally my whole life. I don't need or want a lavish lifestyle. But every time I think about Sarah walking away thinking she's gotten the better end of the deal, only to find out later that she missed out on millions, I feel a mix of guilt and vindictive pleasure. I know it's petty. Part of me really wants to see her face when she eventually finds out the truth. So Reddit, here I am. The divorce will be finalized next week. Sarah thinks she's taking half of our meager assets and leaving me with nothing. In reality, she's walking away from a fortune that could set her up for life. Am I the asshole for letting her go through with it without knowing the truth? Should I come clean about the lottery win and give her a chance to renegotiate? Or am I justified in keeping my secret and starting my new life with a clean slate? Edit. Wow, this blew up overnight. Thanks for all the responses. I want to clarify a few things based on the comments. Yes, I've thought about the possibility of Sarah or someone she knows seeing this post. It's a risk I'm willing to take. The details are vague enough that it could apply to a lot of couples. And Sarah isn't exactly the type to browse Reddit. To those asking why I played the lottery if I'm so frugal, it was an office pool thing at work. I usually don't participate, but I had a weird feeling that day and threw in $10. Guess that weird feeling paid off. Some have asked if there were red flags early in the relationship. Looking back, yes, there probably were. But love and lust, let's be honest, has a way of blinding you to those things. Sarah can be incredibly charming when she wants to be. To the people suggesting I tell Sarah's family secretly, I've considered it, but it's too risky. They've never liked me much, not good enough for their daughter, and I don't trust them not to spill the beans to Sarah. A few comments have mentioned the possibility of Sarah contesting the divorce later if she finds out. My lawyers assure me that as long as I don't touch the money until after everything is finalized, I'm protected. The money doesn't exist as far as the divorce proceedings are concerned. Yes, I realize this sounds like a movie plot. Trust me, I've had plenty of "how is this my life" moments over the past 6 months. I appreciate all the judgments and advice. I've been dealing with this secret alone for so long. It's a relief to finally talk about it with someone, even if it's just internet strangers. I'm reading every comment and giving them all serious thought. For those asking about my plans post-divorce, I'm going to lay low for a while. I'll officially quit my job a few months after the divorce is finalized. Saying, I've decided to start my own business. That'll be my cover for any lifestyle changes. Plan to move to a different state eventually, somewhere I can have a fresh start. As for Sarah, I'll likely never tell her directly. I'm sure she'll find out eventually when news of my charitable work gets out. Part of me hopes she'll realize what she lost and regret her choices, but I'm not holding my breath. I know this whole situation makes me sound bitter and petty. Maybe I am, but after years of emotional manipulation and feeling like I was never good enough, the idea of Sarah realizing what she walked away from feels like karmic justice. Still, all of your comments have given me a lot to think about. I've got a week until the divorce is finalized. I'm going to do some serious soul-searching before then. Whatever I decide, I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror and be at peace with my choice. Thanks again, Reddit. Who knew a bunch of strangers on the internet could provide better therapy than years of couples counseling.